Hey, Planeswalkers, Mythras here. Hope you're doing well and staying safe. Today, I have one more exciting top deck for you coming out of the RedBull Untapped France event. I think this is a great one. It's also an oldie, but a new spin with Zendikar Rising. We've carried it forward. You guys can absolutely go look at the videos from the last season into the interim standard season and now into this one. I think a lot of players are starting to see it as a very, very viable option once again, not only in best of one, but definitely after its performance here in the RedBull Untapped event. Now, quickly, as always, I do want to make a quick call out. I plan to release the tier list here shortly, so definitely stay tuned. And one way to do that, as I always say, is just thank you ahead of time. I appreciate your support. Please feel free to subscribe to the channel down over there. You can like the video, you can like me on Facebook, and you can also follow me on Twitter and Twitch to stay up to date on content like this and stay tuned for that tier list. All right, Planeswalkers, what deck am I speaking of? Well, I have a awesome choice for you. So this is traditionally our Boros cycling. That is what it's called. I would actually make a good, strong case here that it's not just Boros. Here we kind of look at it as being a Jeskai, but even more so, we do have access to our friend here, Mr. Swamp or Mrs. Swamp or whoever Swamp. And I would actually call this Yore. So we can actually play everything here. So this is a key takeaway. Zendikar gave us a lot of access. Additionally, the other clutch pieces are these modal lands here. So we have a lot of other abilities to do a lot of things and maintain an even better cycle deck, in my opinion. So I am very stoked about this. I'm really looking forward to it. And additionally, this particular one made number 3 in the, as I said, RedBull Untapped qualifier France. And this particular one is piloted by Julien Berteaux. I probably pronounced that terribly because my French is awful, and I think they're French. But anyway, with that said, Planeswalkers, this deck list is available for you down below, so you'll have access to it in the description. Let's go ahead and take a look at it, and then I'll talk about some of that lore here and what makes this cycle deck. So let's go ahead and quickly look. As you can see, we got a lot going on, a lot of newcomers here within the archetype. And again, key components here are these 3 modal lands, which is going to be really helpful for us. Additionally, it's running 15 lands. So the old Boros cycle deck used to run 18. This is a nice trimmed down version where we have access to Shatterskull, we have Spikefield Hazard, and then additionally Sejiri Shelter here to give us that 18 still. But we have other options instead of necessarily getting flooded or running into trouble with some of our lands here. And just so you know, this deck runs at the high 50s in terms of win rates right now. So between like 55 and 60% in the competitive space. Not only in, well, mainly definitely best of 1, but obviously you saw from the best of 3 success here. Very important and well thought through, and absolutely has the ability to be competitive. I would stay close to this deck as I feel like it's going to be hot on the scenes of a meta shift too as well. So with that said, Planeswalkers, a couple of key notes for those of you that are new. Let's talk about what Yore is. So number 1, Yore is the 4-color identity makeup for what we have here, which is white, blue, black, and red of those 4 colors. It can also be called non-green. Traditionally, it's also called Artifice. So particularly a lot of artifact type decks. But again, Yore is the main, and then also it's called Yore Tiller. So that's kind of a little bit of the lore history there with those 4 color types. Additionally, now when we talk about the deck, what makes this special? Well, the key components here it is a companion deck. So for those of you that are new to Magic, this is Lurrus of the Dream Den. Our companions, we have a constraint and then something that it does for us. But the companion constraint that we have is each permanent in our starting deck has convert mana cost 2 or less. So this falls into this line here. Everything else we can still cast, but it can't be a permanent. But then during each of our turns, we may cast one of those permanent spells with converted mana cost 2 or less from our graveyard. So it's a great way to get a lot of things back and still make some plays and additionally get the life gain there. Now, the second part of this, so cycle. So the big piece about cycle here, and you can't see it right off the bat because a lot of this stuff's covered up, but let's take a look at Flourishing Fox here. Here we have a mechanic for cycle. This is what I love. I call it a free cantrip. You still pay for it, but you'll get an uncounterable draw. Essentially, is what happens. And that is the key mechanic of this deck. So we can win with our creatures. So we got decent creatures here to help us kind of overcome. But then the main kicker here is Zenith Flare. So Zenith Flare is an instant cast spell where it deals X damage to any target. We gain X life, where X is the number of cards with cycling ability in our graveyard. So at 4, we can do a lot of damage really quickly. This deck can be rather explosive. Definitely a turn 5 deck fairly easily. But again, depending on how you play your creature-based spells, if you double up on Flourishing Fox early, it's pretty hard for them to kind of shut you down because those guys get big real fast. But we have a lot of great support here with Valiant Rescuer and then Drannith Stinger as well. And Stinger gets around a lot of things. So my preference when I play this deck, and you guys will check out some of my matches here in a little bit, I really, really like dropping these 3 in particular, at least 1 or 2, to really build the board state and kind of delay, which gives us a big advantage when we get into Flare. The only problem that I'll say this deck can run into is if they are running counter magic. Zenith Flare becomes a little bit harder. You got to play around it more. So you just want to be careful on those pieces. Now, the big upgrade that we got in Zendikar Rising, because I do want to spend a moment on this, and then we'll go talk about the best of 3 sideboard. And yes, there is a best of 3 sideboard for this deck, which I am so excited about. So is this access with the modal lands to tap into blue or tap into black, which allows us to play Memory Leak and allows us to pull off things like Boon of the Wishgiver. So from a strategy perspective, so most of us are used to just dropping plains or mountains. You're going to want to actually think about the order of play here. So for me, I would almost, to be honest, we got to be careful on turn 1 and turn 2, but I would really focus on making sure we drop both of these, at least 2 of these, as that access to islands, so we can drop Boon of the Wishgiver, and then additionally the ability then for this one here, you only need to drop 1 swamp because then you'll have access to Memory Leak. So a lot of interesting things that we can do here that I'm very, very excited about, and then obviously some other cards that we can play when we don't have to worry about those lands. Whew. Big breath. We got a lot going on, but I do want to go talk about the sideboard, and then we can talk a little bit about how to sideboard, because this is going to be key. We haven't seen this before in the past, in particular, because typically, again, it was primarily focused on cycle, and it tended to be more of a best of 1. Yes, it was played in some best of 3, but now with this new access, I think it's definitely became a little bit more competitive. So we got a lot of options here, which I think is very important. The first call out, though, is none of these options have cycle. So that can be a bummer, but when we need the playables, we're going to be okay, and that's going to be important nonetheless. So first off, we have Deafening Silence, so each player can't cast more than 1 non-creature spell each turn. You don't have to worry about cycle, I believe, for this, so if we do go down that path, we can go check that one out. Next, so I would play this against anyone that's doubling up on spells. So if they're like mono green, for instance, and they're cranking out lots of creatures, you may want to play this. Next, we have Fight as One, so the ability to gain Indestructible is going to be really important when we want to swing in or defend. So this could be good against some of the aggro decks like mono red. This could also be good against mono green that we mentioned. You may want to play this as well against Gruul. Just a lot of different places that you could potentially play this one. Next, we got Selfless Savior. So this one you're going to want to put on the board again against a creature-based deck, but also if you're going to run into you know, some destroy decks, which would be like a dimmer control deck, or even the rogues deck, you may want to play this. So if they try and target Flourishing Fox or one of these other guys, you can sacrifice Selfless Savior and save the day. Next, we got Red Cat Melee. So you're going to want to play this against mono red. You're going to want to play this against Omnath decks. This is a good one in that space. And then anything like a Gruul deck or even some of the Terror of the Peaks ones, you'll want to play this. Next, we got Spikefield Hazard. So we have one already. This gives us access to another land. I would play this if we're running against a Omnath deck again or any of the Cobra decks for ramp. This is going to give you an advantage of trying to take those things off the board. Next, we got Soul Guide Lantern. I like this against the new mid-range decks. So yes, this is a good answer there. Additionally, to get Croxa. Additionally, this is going to work well against like a mono red deck that's running Phoenix, anything that's accessing the sideboard, even mono white at times. So we did that one yesterday. You can absolutely consider seeing Elspeth in some of the aggro versions as well. The one I did yesterday, I don't think played that, if I can recall, but that's something else. Next, Drannith Magistrate. So this shuts down Omnath decks as well. They're not going to be able to play the 5 cast that I'm blanking on, Enter the Wilderness or whatever it is. So keep that in mind. They're not going to be able to access those cards. So this is a perfect one for that. And again, it's going to kind of lock them on the graveyard too. Next, Sajiri Shelter. So we already have one. Again, access to another land if we need. Target creature we control gains protection. So this is a good one to deny death, kill spells, deny anything that's going to target our guy, even fight, mechanics, those kinds of things. So that would be a good one there. Next, Blitz of the Thunder Raptor. So this is a great instant speed spell. I'd run this against Omnath. I'd run this against other creature decks as well. So what does this one do? We can target creature Planeswalker, so you might want to run against Planeswalker decks. For the number of instant or sorcery cards in our graveyard, and if that creature Planeswalker would die, we exile it instead. So this would be good against things like Elspeth. This would be good against Ashiok. This would be good against pretty much any Planeswalker. And we got a lot of targets there, and the majority of these are instant and sorcery spells, as you can see. So that can get really big really fast. And you're going to be able to knock out good old Ugin with this one too, most likely. Next, Scorching Dragonfire. This is a good one against any creatures or creature-based decks, so mono red, mono white, Gruul. Additionally, this would potentially run well against our Omnath friend decks and any Clover type deck as well. Next, we got Shredded Sails. So I would play this against Terror of the Peaks, but the big one here is, actually, I lied. There is some cycling still, so this one's got cycling. I would play this against our friends, Omnath, Clover decks, anyone running an artifact, and then anyone running a flyer. You can absolutely play this. This will be a good one, and then again, we still got the 2 cycling, so it fits well in this deck. And lastly, we got Thundering Rebuke. So 4 damage to target creature or Planeswalker. I would play this when it's not a mono red creature that you want to get off the board, so that you don't have to eat the land cost there with red cap. I believe that's kind of really the choice with this one, but it does cost 1 more as well. So very, very powerful deck. Lots of things that we can do. My take in terms of sideboarding and where I would focus, again, because it's very cycle heavy, the easiest one I would say to look at first, depending on who you're playing, is probably Memory Leak, because we have some access there. My preference would be to try and save Boon of the Wishgiver for some of that later game play, and then I would also take a look at Frostveil Ambush. So that gives us 6 cards that we can flip around pretty easily depending on the deck that we're going to play, and open up a lot of things. So whether it's creature-based aggro, long-term control, or even that mid-range, we got a good set of options there to consider and how we want to play. And again, I don't mind having that additional access to things like Spikefield Hazard if we want. So those are all good considerations for us to keep in mind. The other one that you may want to flip out as well is, if it's not necessarily creature-based deck, I do like Valiant Rescuer, but it does cost 2 on the cycle. So we can cut down on some of the cycle cost as well. That might be a good advantage for us. So that gives you a lot of options on where to sideboard. Now, we talked a lot about the sideboard over here as well. And I'm very, as you can tell, I'm very excited about this one, because I think it's going to do some good things here. With that said, let's go ahead and play some competitive Magic here. I've made actually a nice little run here since we last chatted yesterday. So let's go ahead and jump into it. We're going to play our standard rank. So there's that mono white aggro one that I talked about. So we're going to play, I'm going to call it the Yore instead of Boros, your cycling deck. Here, the number 3 one, again, by our friend Julien Berteaux. So let's go ahead and play here with our standard ranked. I believe I'm tier 1 platinum, so I think there was a healthy jump in terms of 2 full climbs there. And then, as always, Planeswalkers, before we get started here against Kirby Dreamland, I just want to say thank you. I appreciate your support. Please feel free to subscribe to the channel down over there. You can also like the video if you like it. You can like me on Facebook, follow me on Twitter and Twitch. Stay up to date on content like this. All right, we need to make a decision here. So do we keep it or do we drop it? I like it, so we're going to go with it. And we'll play from here. I'm just debating on the order that I want to drop this. So here's that bug. I'm having problems clicking on this stuff here. See, look. Oh, sometimes you gotta like switch them over. And then we're gonna do this. And I'm actually gonna play this one first. We're gonna go white for Valiant Rescuer. And if we can pop off Memory Leak, that's going to be nice, actually. Here we go. Good old Zenith Flare. You guys see this? That's clutch. What isn't clutch is we did not get a land. There we go. There's another land. If we can get a red source, we'll be looking pretty good. There's their Omnath. There we go. Now we got access to it. So the question here is, do I burn the clover? I think we do this, to be honest. I'm actually going to try that. Ooh. So now we should have burned Clover. So let's see what they pull. So the right play would have been burn Clover. But they would have drew 3 cards with Fae of Wishes. So that will wipe all their stuff as well. That is a very interesting choice, to be honest. Alright, so we're back at it. We're at 8. So we could be more aggressive in our cycling here. I'm playing it a little bit differently. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. So we have enough to pull Beanstalker off the board. If we would like. Which is what I'm going to do. There we go. There's our blue source. I'm just debating on how I want to play this one. So we can cycle 2. So if we cycle 2, that'll make that 11. I think we have lethal. We just need to do it right. Just barely there. So there's our 11, and as long as they don't have a counter, we're good. Oh, boom! There goes Omnath, or Teamer Adventures, but that's 4 colors, so it's probably Omnath. Alright, Zenith Flare shot off and was heard. So a lovely, lovely best of 1. So as I said, tier 1 platinum. Very, very nice win there. So let's go on to our second match here for a best of 1. All right. Against Apex Twin. So similar but different situation here. We also are playing a Lurrus deck. I'm going to keep it because we got a lot of cycle. We're going to go from there. Oh, there's that lovely... Oh, it's the mirror match. It is the mirror match. I told you guys. I told you guys that the cycle decks were a thing. So now it's going to come down to, very nice, that's a good choice. It's going to come down to a little bit different play style here. And right now I am definitely behind. And I say that because the colors that we're seeing here, we are behind. And they got some main board there on direct damage. So at least from this perspective, there we go. We gotta go with the red first. So this is a dead card. We actually need to get Healer down, because we're going to run into some issues otherwise. Well, we can go to 6 and make them 7. So they're not going to have lethal. So in here they got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's 8. They need a land plus. There they go. So 8. So they can do 9. They can't kill us with Drannith. But if they do have 2 flares, we're done. There they go. So now 1 flare does it for them. And that fills his graveyard. We don't have a choice. I'm going to need to block. And a little too late. Because they got plenty in there. So they just need 1 flare. pretty easy when they've gone through half their deck. So there it is, the mirror match. You guys saw it first. And I lost, of course. So, all right, 1-1, Omnath done. We played a mirror match. Who would have thought, right? I told you guys, it's coming. It's coming. They just had a better position than we did. All right, on to the next one here. So we're gonna go play our traditional standard ranked best of 3. There is that mono white aggro deck that, again, like I mentioned, is also making an impact coming out of RedBull. All right, Planeswalkers, again, just want to say thank you. Appreciate the support. Please feel free to subscribe to the channel down over there. Additionally, you can like the video if you like it. You can like me on Facebook, follow me on Twitter and Twitch. All right, so with that said, we are moving into the last piece against legs. Looks like we got some legs there. So, all right, we play first. We're going to take it. We got 2 things going here, so I will keep this. And we're going to have a little bit slower of a path. Ooh, we should have kept that now. They're making fun of us. So they can trade. So it looks like mono green. So here's a trade. Yep, which is fine. All right, we got our blue. We got our guy here. And our cycle there. There we go. Ooh, and another fox. Even better. So this is a fine balance between cycling and playing some of our cards here always. So unfortunately, we are going to have to play Go for Blood. Absolutely have to play this. So this is going to be a good deck to put in some of that burn. There's our double blue. This could be interesting. We're getting close. If we get draw 4, it's going to save us, potentially. Mono green is obviously a deck that's heavily played. You guys have seen the #1 deck. This one hit a couple days ago. So this is a good test here in best of 3 for us. not going to be able to survive that. We could really use a flare. All right. So we'll do double. We will do that. White, white, black. I don't know if that was right. Did you guys catch that? I think that was a bug. Actually, oh, I take that back. It's 3. Any 3. You need the 3 colors to play. Oh, that was bad. I'm tired. Sorry. Kind of funny at the same time. What do we want to do here? I think we cycle. Wrong play. Oof. All right, they have a lot going now. Go him. I'm gonna go Fox. Ooh, and we can tap him down. Let's leave it there. Ouch. That's gonna hurt. That's gonna be game. I can't stop that. That is unfortunate. Excuse me. And we ran out of juice. So, artifact. We're gonna want to play a couple different things here. Deafening silence. Spikefield Hazard's good. These two, that one. Rebuke's good. Maybe Selfless Savior as well. And how many of these? Let's grab all those. So we're going to play much slower here. And maybe fight as one. So let's drop Frostveil. I'm going to keep 1 Boon. And then let's drop 2 of those. Protection's okay. We got 5 more to go. Drop that. We'll go 2 on that. 3 more. We want the fights. Let's do that. And let's do 1 more. That works. Oop, and we'll go 1 more there. Memory leak. All right. Kept memory leak just in case. Let's look at their hand, so we'll see. Gotta be really, really quick here, though. And we were not fast enough there on the last one. So there's a blue. But we're gonna go red. So we have it. So they can fight again, probably, is going to be my guess. But we'll see. There it is. We'll get him off. Go another white. So we can play Lurrus. They want that 4, huh? Here we go. There we go, my friends. That is always too slow for me. I don't know why. So 3 against 3. Missing a lot of blue. Missing a lot of blue. That's fine. Oh, that's not fine. Alright, we'll see what we got going on here. Shoot. Can't pull it because they will just drop it anyway. Barely, though. A little late for that one, too. We'll take one. We need a flare, is what we need. I think this may be the end of the road, and this mono green's a tough matchup for this deck. Oh, and we got flooded when we didn't need any of that. Oh, such a travesty. And we'll call it a game and call it a day. So this is the new... Oh, we went back out of the tier. That is a bummer. This is a pretty sweet deck, though. I think the modifications are nice. I wasn't maybe as aggressive as I could have been on the cycling, so that obviously is an option there. But let's go ahead and take a look at this list again. So the Yore traditional Boros cycle deck, or Boros cycle deck. Again, list is available for you down below. If you got questions or comments, let me know. Happy to help as always. But pretty nifty. I think it runs pretty well, as I said. 55% plus on win rate and an aggregate from what I've seen, at least a couple different places. Unfortunately, not my cup of tea today, and obviously we did a less job than that. But it was cool that we did see the mirror match. We did beat an Omnath or Teamer Adventures deck, which was pretty big, and then we did lose the mono green. I do think mono green is a tough matchup for this one, but either way, it is what it is. Our opponents had answers to what we had to play, and that is magic for you. So all in a day's work. But anyway, here's the sideboard as well. As I mentioned, questions, comments, please let me know. Happy to help as always. I do really enjoy this one. I think it is a good, fast, definitely best of one deck too. And we got a lot of new options with Zendikar Rising. So, Planeswalkers, as always, just want to say thank you for your support. Please feel free to subscribe to the channel down over there. Additionally, if you like the video, please like it. You can like me on Facebook, follow me on Twitter and Twitch. All right, Planeswalkers, stay tuned. We got a lot of new content coming your way as I try to pump out a daily video, as you know. But additionally, as I mentioned, I'm getting stoked because pretty close for the tier list. So we'll get there. So hang on tight pretty soon. Lastly, you stay safe, stay well, and I am out. Mythras gone, and we'll see you soon. Stay tuned.